Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Little Miss. For those of you who are new here, my name's Riley, and I host this podcast. And I usually do it with my roommates, Lauren and Taylor. This week's topic is going to be kind of a catch-up on some of the books and movies that we've read or watched lately, especially because we haven't really done a podcast in a few months. And then at the end, we're also going to do a pretty hefty trivia segment.
Ooh.
Does anyone want to start us out with some of our books and movies?
Lauren's the big reader, so she's gonna have some books to bring to the table. My big pop culture thing that I've been a part of is the new season of Outer Banks.
Yeah, which is very trending right now, and fair. For good reason, because it's pretty upsetting, yeah. I will say.
I am extremely invested. For those of you who don't know, it is a Netflix TV show about a group of teenagers who hunt for treasure. And if you think that sounds dumb, it is.
And that's it.
It is one of the best shows I've ever seen, and simultaneously one of the worst shows I've ever seen.
It's not well written.
It's not good.
It's truly terrible.
I'm sat for every single episode. It's not good.
Yeah. No. Half of the show is just that everyone's attractive.
And that's fair. I think they did they put like all their budget into casting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they let AI write the rest of the script.
Yeah, it gives CW show, which we've talked about before, and that they're just all hot. But
yeah.
It gives CW, but almost to another level.
Yeah.
Especially the later seasons. The first one, honestly, is decent.
Yeah,
it's your typical teen show with like drama and stuff and the treasure subplot. And then season 2 is when you really start to just lose the plot. And by season 4, which is where we're at now, it's not even remotely connected.
It is.
It's so far.
It is crazy.
It's crazy.
And they do this thing that they think is like normal, where it is a teen show and there's like a lot of, there's like drama and dating and everything, which I'm sat for.
Every time.
Of course.
Yeah, every time. I love that. And then they'll just be like, yeah, Blackbeard's treasure. We need to find that. And then next season it's like, we're going to heal the sick with Jesus' cross.
Yeah, they love to bring the weirdest,
I don't know.
There's suddenly a magical cloth that will restore your health. And I'm like, what happened to the treasure
and they're
hunting?
Like, but you kissed her when you shouldn't have.
But the love triangle. And they love to bring like a manipulative, like abusive father. And they'll like bring him back to life like 4 times. Yeah. And the kids will fall for it every time.
Yeah.
And these are truly
hook, line, and sinker.
The worst men you've ever encountered in your life.
Yeah.
And clearly are from the beginning. Like anybody who encounters this man is like sketchy, horrible person. And these children, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
They're like, this is a good guy.
I just think it's very odd how much of it is like father focused. Because once you like look, or like once I started looking back, they don't care about mothers in that show.
No, they're either dead or just like no speaking roles.
They're not mentioned.
They're not a part of the plot at all.
No, but every single season is at least 1 or 2 horrifying father experiences. And you're right, they bring them back. Yeah. Or they'll be like, this is so stupid. Spoiler alert for the last season. They'll be like, oh, your long lost dad.
The dad that was your dad the whole time is not your dad for no reason.
In fact, you're the secret son and you were heir to the inheritance. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
But then the inheritance doesn't even come back. It meant nothing.
It was completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, great show. You should watch it.
Yeah, great show. I think specifically it's trending right now because there was so much drama with the actors this season.
True.
That just released. It was like 2 weeks ago.
A lot of drama with the cast.
With the cast, yeah. Specifically, should we like get into it or we just like...
We should talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, of course we should talk about it. JJ's character and Key's character, which were like set up to date last season, but they've been like soft launching and like people are like, oh, I wish like for the first 2 seasons they would get together, and they finally did. And then something happened off screen, like, not related to the show, between the cast, the actors, and now like they won't even be in the same room together in the show.
Yeah.
They've had to use stunt doubles for hug scenes.
Yeah, there's a scene where they're like resting their head on the other one and it's not the actual actors.
And it's very clear. Like they show this part of his face and then this part of her, but like you never see them in the same cut. And like this part is like her head with like the headband. Like it's clearly not the same human being. It's very strange.
Which is kind of a crazy take. And also, they, again, spoiler alert, they kill off JJ at the end. And it's strongly implied among at least fans that like they could not work together. Yeah. So they killed off the actor. Because,
like asked to leave.
Like his character is gone because they could not work together.
Which to me is very unprofessional because the other 2 actors on set, Lauren, what are their names?
Chase Stokes and Madeline Klein.
Yes. They dated.
Yeah, they actually
dated in real life, and were dating in the show, broke up in real life, are still dating in the show, and are still working together professionally. They have significant others, dating other people, but they're professionals.
They're having a baby in the show.
Yeah, this is their job,
Yeah.
and so they showed up and acted like professionals.
The couple that's in question that like cannot work together never dated. One of them's a lesbian.
Yes, the woman dates women.
Yeah, like it is crazy that this is like such a huge issue because they never dated in real life, and they're not going to.
And also, she likes women.
She's not interested in him.
Yeah.
I learned some very interesting lore about the actors involved in the show that I did not know before, which is that the actress who plays Cleo, when she was first brought on to the cast and they did like her chemistry reading to like figure out who she would end up with, it was with Rudy Panko, who plays JJ. And like that was the character she was supposed to date and like be in the show with. And then like Key was supposed to stick with Pope, who, for those who haven't watched, she does very briefly date in season 1.
And they break up and she gets with JJ.
Yes. Because the actor and actress did have such great chemistry on set.
Cleo and
did see-
JJ?
No, Key and
Key and
Key and
JJ. So then they,
Key and Pope.
Key and JJ.
had such great chemistry that they
Oh, okay,
scrapped
okay,
the
sorry.
Cleo JJ.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yes.
And they were like, no, you guys are better together. Okay.
Yes. And so then they moved Cleo to Pope and just like reworked the whole
Okay.
thing. But it's because of the chemistry that the actors had. And then the fans really loved it too. And the fans did they're like, you guys should date in real life. And again, she's a lesbian. She's not going to date him.
Have you seen all the stuff with Drew Starkey and the girl who plays Cleo?
Yes. A lot of people think they're like dating now.
And they're all like, shh, don't say anything, because then they won't actually date. They're like, keep it on the down low, keep it on the down
Drew
low.
Starkey and Cleo? Or like,
Yeah.
what's her name? I don't know.
I don't know her name. It's
Yeah.
Claricia or something.
Oh, okay. The
She
two
was-
of them?
Yeah, because she'll go to like his events.
She was the only one of the cast who went to his new movie premiere with the one with Daniel Craig.
And they're like really grasping at straws, but they'll like laugh in an interview together.
They do seem like they're very close. I don't know if they're dating or not, but they're clearly friends.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's Outer
Fair
Banks. And it is a cultural moment right now.
Yes. It's a big deal.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
And anybody who goes into that should know it.
It's not good. You should watch it.
Yeah, it's really bad. Please watch it.
It's highly entertaining. But you will never sit there and think that was a satisfying conclusion.
No,
That
they
was
did
a
a great
satisfying
job
build.
with that. Yeah.
Ever.
Never. Okay, I can move on to one of my books. I was reading on the trip actually a lot. One of the things I want to mention was None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. And it actually was really good.
What's
and
it
I
about?
think people should read it. It was the one I was telling you guys where like it's like two ladies that have the same birthday and one of them
Oh, yeah.
Right.
one of them has like a podcast and one of them is they meet at like the restaurant on their birthday, and this lady, it's actually very Saltburn coded, where this lady gets completely invested and completely attached to this woman's life. I did think it was good, and it was one of those books that like at the end I was reading on like Reddit about it and like what people thought, and you can interpret it different ways. So like it's kind of at the end where you're like, oh, none of this is true, like did this even happen, or like is this character a completely like false narrative, or
You don't really know who was lying
No.
and who was telling the truth.
after reading some of the Reddit comments, I do have my own opinion. I believe one side, but no, it's very much left up to like, I don't know.
That is interesting.
So that was on my list. The other like books I got into were, I think her last name is Pickles. Is that how you say it? Jodi Pickles books, which are kind of controversial because some people think she absolutely sucks. But I liked them. Small Great Things was really good, and 19 Minutes was really good. Mad Honey was okay. The Pack sucked.
What are they about?
Small Great Things was the one with the nurse, the prosecutor, or the defense attorney, and the neo-Nazi, or like the white supremacist.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's like written from each of their perspectives. It shifts from like first person.
And it's like nonfiction, right?
No fiction.
Oh.
All of these
I
I've listed have been fiction.
actually did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah. 19 Minutes is about a school shooting, and it's the same thing where it shifts from like each perspective of like the kids that were there and the teachers and everything. And Mad Honey is about a murder of a transgender girl.
Okay.
So I did think they were good. The Pact sucked. Like this one was actually so bad. And it's one of our earlier books where I was telling you guys about like the suicide pact and like these two teenagers. One of them ends up dead, and one of
Oh,
them,
yeah.
yeah, it did suck. I will say, and it wasn't good. And it was the scenes she included didn't really make any sense.
So she has some W's and some A's.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Very interesting.
I have a couple shows, but do you guys have anything else?
Well, Lauren has books.
Yeah, there's some books.
Yeah, I have some books. A book I read this year that I really liked was Andy Warhol Was a Hoarder. It like talks about different like icons or like very successful people like Albert Einstein or like Marilyn Monroe, Andy Warhol, and like if they were alive today, what different like diagnoses they might have, like depression or like bipolar disorder.
I read a couple chapters. Marilyn Monroe was, it's not bipolar, it's the other one. Borderline, right?
Yeah, borderline personality disorder. I just thought it was interesting. And they kind of talked about how if they didn't have these problems or like if they had been treated for them, like they might not have been as successful. Because some of the things, like Andy Warhol was a hoarder, but like that was a big part of his art.
Yeah.
So like if he didn't have this like kind of obsession, his art wouldn't have been the same and maybe he wouldn't have been as successful. So it's just kind of like a different perspective.
Yeah.
Or like Albert Einstein is like a genius.
Yeah.
And they thought that he might have Asperger's. And like his being able to get really focused and like his attention to detail like might be directly linked to that.
Yeah.
So.
No, that makes perfect sense to me because I think exceptional people often have exceptional things wrong with them.
Yeah.
So that concept makes perfect sense to me. Or like some of the people I knew or have known that have like really bad mental illness are some of the most creative people I know.
Yeah.
Like they're very talented, but they do hear voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one was good. And then the same author did a different book called Spark, I think it is. And it's like the different ages that people became successful. So it's like child prodigies. And then they talk about people who like didn't get their start until they were like in their 80s. And like the difference between like nature and nurture. And like, is it because of the way they were raised? Like, why does it take some people so much longer as opposed to some people that are like really little and are automatically good at it? Sounds good. I liked Andy Warhol Was a Hoarder better, but I think they're both really good.
That is interesting.
Good recs. Good
Yeah,
recs.
good recommendations.
So good.
Who got famous at 80?
There's that painter. Is it Grandma Ma or Grandma Moses? I think that's who they used. Yeah, let me look her up. Yeah, Anne Mary Robertson or Grandma Moses was an American folk artist. She began painting at the age of 78 and is a prominent example of a newly successful art career at an advanced age.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, Grandma Moses, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
the G Grandma
absolutely.
Moses.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is interesting.
Do I keep going? Do we like go in between?
Yeah, we can switch off. Taylor, do you have any? Other than Outer Banks?
No, the one I really wanted to talk about was Outer Banks.
Taylor's a one-man show.
Taylor said nah.
I can keep talking about it, but no.
I wanted to include both of these because I started with Nobody Wants This, the one with Adams Brody. The one on Netflix.
Yeah,
because I watched that on the trip too. But then I just watched He's Just Not That Into You Today, which is a very old, like 20 years movie. But I thought it was interesting to compare them because Nobody Wants This is like new and it has Adam Brody in it. I think Kristen Bell, and it's about like this rabbi who decides to date someone that's like not in his religion, and it's a good show. Like it is a good show. I would recommend it. But there's this one like weird plot that they put in and then they left it like hanging at the end, which is where her sister at first like really hates his brother and she thinks he's like super annoying and like she cannot stand him. And then by the end, like they're talking even though he's married.
Which we love that.
Yes,
in a rom-com.
I was thinking like that is, and then we've talked about this before on the podcast that like The Notebook has such a cheating like
Pro-cheating narrative.
A lot of rom-coms have like a pro-cheating narrative.
Or like, if it's for love, you should cheat on your significant other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine if you really like them and
Yeah,
if they're
if
really
you really
attractive.
like them. And they kind of set up like in Nobody Wants This, his wife is kind of like a little witch. And she kind of like defrosts by the end. But in the beginning, it's like, oh, he shouldn't be married to her.
Right. Like, poor him.
Yeah.
He deserves to be someone who's nice. Like,
Yeah,
it's
for
not his fault for cheating on his wife. If she wasn't so mean, he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
She's just nicer.
Yeah. Even though she's not, honestly, to him. But I would recommend the show. I did think that was weird. But then I watched He's Just Not That Into You Today. And I realized, like, after I watched it, it was one of the only rom-coms I've ever seen where cheating does not happen and does not actually romanticize at all.
It's not featured.
Because there's a big cheating plot line in it. And at the end, like, none of those people end up together. And in fact,
It's like a bad thing.
it's a bad thing, and his wife leaves him, and he doesn't end up with the girl either.
It's more realistic.
It is more realistic, and
As they
there's no
should.
like as they should. Yeah, there's no. I was trying to think because it's one of those like crazy stupid love where there's a lot of different like
Plot lines going
plot lines going on. But unless I'm like really, and I watched it today, I'm like, unless I can't remember.
It was how long ago? Like 2 hours.
It's been 2 hours. Yeah, there's no cheating in it.
Is it good?
I thought it was good. It's getting a lot of like, it's one of those movies that people look back on a few decades and they're like, there's no diversity, and which is fair, there's not. And they're like, the only gay characters are sub characters that care about like too much about other people and like their love lives, which I think is valid. It's true. But for the time, like 20 years ago,
I was gonna say it's a different time.
it was a different time. But I thought it was good.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Your vibe while watching it was that it maybe was not.
Well, it was really hurtful.
Okay.
Like it was really hurtful. But it was good in the fact that like it hurt.
Okay.
It wasn't like I watched it and I was like, this could never be me. Okay. I saw myself.
It was too realistic.
It was too realistic.
Hit a little too
I
close to
saw
home.
myself. Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
have to watch it. It has a stacked cast.
It's a stacked cast. And I hate to say it, but Bradley Cooper's the cheater. And I love Bradley Cooper, so that was really brutal.
That hurts. That was cruel.
It was
It
really
was
brutal.
rough. He does, to be fair, have a face of somebody that could cheat to me. I'm like, Bradley Cooper,
Yeah.
like he can play a good guy. He could definitely play a bad guy. He doesn't have like a baby face, you know?
No, he doesn't.
That man has sharp eyes.
He's capable of things.
He's capable of things.
But he starts out like, because Scarlett Johansson is his mistress, and
Ew.
Jennifer Connelly is his wife. But like the movie starts out and you don't know he's married yet, and he meets Scarlett Johansson in like a grocery line.
They love that trope too.
Yes, they do. But like she wins like a prize, and they end up like talking about it because he let her go in, like ahead of him. And by the end of it, he goes like, you're kind of like rooting for him because he's like, oh, it was nice to meet you, but like no, like I'm married.
Yeah.
And then like slowly through the movie, he starts being like, well, you know, I said I'd help you with your career, so like, yeah, come down to the office. And then for a while, like they're hanging out but not sleeping together, and then like eventually he sleeps with her and leaves his wife. Yeah, but in the beginning you kind of are rooting for him. You're like, good for him. And like
Right.
she calls
Go
him
get her.
and he's like, I'm married, don't talk to me.
Dang.
Really switched up on that.
Brutal.
Really does a 180.
And, yeah. Oh, I wrote on here, we should tell the Megamind story because
Oh, that was brutal.
did we tell this on the other podcast?
No, we have not.
didn't.
We've told
Okay.
every person we know, but I don't think we've said it on the podcast. Who wants to start? Who wants to start?
So, speaking of cultural moments, Megamind, one of the great movies of our generation. Don't at me with that. That's a great movie.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know. I recently saw it. Anyways, keep going. Keep going.
Okay. I'm going to start because their narrative is flawed.
Before we get into revisionist history. Okay, start, Taylor.
Okay.
Start your case.
So Megamind, one of the great movies of our generation, excellent film. I know that Lauren recently said, she's like, oh, you know, I think I'm ready to watch Megamind again because she watched it a ton growing up. And she's like, I don't need to watch that again.
Not that I think I'm ready to watch.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I'm ready to get back into my Megamind era.
And when we were on the airplane, I don't remember, to or from Europe, it was listed. And there's also an option where you could request different seats to watch a movie with you. So you could like say like 33A, watch a movie with me.
Yeah.
And so I was separate from the girls. They were like a few rows ahead and I was back
together.
there.
So now we cut to our POV.
No, my POV's still here. So I sent a request to watch Megamind to both of them. And I was really mostly interested to see if it would work. And then I get a text from Riley, who's using the airplane Wi-Fi. And she says, and I quote, why did you just ask us to watch Megamind with you? We want to watch new movies.
Okay, well, Delta
neither of
had-
us want to watch this.
Delta had a really, really good selection. Okay, it was the
They
kind
did.
of movies like where I was kind of upset because we got off the plane because I wanted to watch another one of their movies.
Yeah.
Did have good
Yeah, and
movies.
believe it or not, Megamind wasn't on that list.
So I was under the impression neither of them would be watching the movie with me. So I exited out and I picked a different movie to watch. Then as I'm walking down the aisle to the bathroom, I pause. And this is where Lauren's part of the story
Yeah,
starts.
so I'm sitting in my seat and I get this recommendation like, oh, seat 34D wants to watch Megamind with you. And I'm like, okay, Taylor wants to watch Megamind. I'm not going to make Taylor watch Megamind alone because that would be a cruel, like unthinkable thing to do to a person. So I hit accept, okay? So I'm watching Megamind. I'm about 25 minutes into this movie, and I'm assuming that Taylor's watching it with me in solidarity. So she gets up to go to the bathroom. I'm like, that's funny. This is like a really good scene. Really weird that she's like stood up right now.
this is not the scene to get up.
So like she walks past me, and I'm like, hey, like how's Megamind going? And she's like, what do you mean I'm not watching it? So now I'm a grown woman I'm a grown woman sitting on an airplane watching Megamind alone.
Now she's just watching Megamind.
Now I'm just watching Megamind by myself. And like, yeah, there were other movies I could have watched, and I chose to watch Megamind with you, and you completely left me in the lurch, and you left me hanging.
To be fair, the text I received said, "We don't want to watch Megamind."
I slammed the no button, and I swear Lauren did too. Like
I
what's
hit
weird is I
yes.
sat right next to her, and I was just as surprised by this information.
I hit yes. I was like, I guess we're watching Megamind. You
And
know?
I just did not realize you were still watching. And if I had, I would have watched, but I just didn't want to watch it by myself.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's not fun, let me tell you.
Well, I do
But-
apologize, but I think we can agree the real villain here is Riley.
True. Riley was she was out to get us.
No, the real the theme through here is that Riley was the problem.
She was
can I
sowing
say?
dissension. But Megamind's a great movie. And I liked it just as much this time.
She also finished it. She's like, well, now I'm in it.
Yeah, I'm like, well, now I'm not going to turn it off.
Now you gotta know.
Yeah, I can quote that whole movie, like beginning to end.
You guys, as a
first-
child, you guys watched that over and over
So
again.
many times. The first few minutes, my headphones weren't working. I forgot they weren't working because I know exactly what's being said right now.
You're like,
Playing in my head.
I know exactly what's going on here.
But yeah, that's our Megamind story.
That's the Megamind story.
It was brutal, and I did do you wrong.
Glad we could put that on there.
Period. That's all of like my movies and books and stuff that I could think of.
Okay. I read a book, and like the book isn't that great. I just read it because there's going to be a movie coming out in 2026, and it's Ryan Gosling, and then also the cinematographer is Greg Fraser, who did he did Batman, he did
Oh, cool.
Dune.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's the DP. It's called Project Hail Mary, and like the book wasn't like great,
Oh, I
but
remember
like
you talked about this. Okay.
it was funny. It was like a good read, and I'm very excited for the movie.
I actually was just talking to somebody about that this weekend.
Oh, interesting.
What? Remind me, because I do remember you talking about this though. What's this about?
It's the same author as The Martian, and like very similar concept where there's like this astronaut and he wakes up and he has like no memories, and his crew members are dead. So he has to like figure out like why he's on the spaceship and like what he's supposed to be doing. And like there's a problem with the sun, so they're being like sent to the sun because like Earth has a limited amount of time. It's like one of those.
Okay, sure.
He is very heavy on using like actual science and math. So parts of it are like kind of confusing. 'Cause it's just-
Indecipherable.
yeah, it's like gibberish. But I did like it. I would recommend it. I read it pretty fast. It was a good book.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about that this weekend where she like asked, what's your favorite book? And I told her, and then asked her like, what are your favorite books? And she mentioned a few, but one she mentioned was Project Hail Mary. I was like, oh, I didn't read that, but my roommate did. Did you know they're making a movie in a couple of years that has Ryan Gosling in it? And she said, oh.
Really?
And it was
What?
shocking. She said, oh. And I was like, you might want to watch that
Yeah,
attitude.
you might want to walk that
Yeah.
back. That's why I read the book. That's crazy.
Is she just not a Ryan Gosling?
Does she
fan?
hate joy?
No, because I was like, do you have a problem with Ryan Gosling? She's like, no, I just
Taylor said you have a problem with that. Can you have a problem with
Yeah,
me?
yeah. Taylor's like, I'll swing.
no, literally, I'm like,
She said, don't talk about my man like that.
Ryan Gosling's one of my consistent celebrity crushes. You must be out of your mind.
That's crazy.
And she's like, no, I just don't really picture him in the role. It doesn't seem like the right casting to me. And I'm like, he's the right casting for any role.
Maybe
You could
it's-
tell me he's playing Queen Elizabeth. And I'd be
yeah,
sad.
yeah,
Put him in a
what?
dress and a wig.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Maybe it's because I knew it was going to be him the whole time. So, like, from the first page, I was picturing him. But I think that's false.
Yeah.
He's like
Fair
a
enough.
teacher. So, he has to have all these scenes where he's like funny with kids. He's done that a lot. I've seen him do that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like a funny character,
And Ryan Gosling is notoriously really funny.
but he also has to be serious. I feel like that was false. Fake news.
Yeah,
He's
that's-
going to kill it.
We did. I had to like let it go because I'm like, all right, we can't actually get into like a fist fight right now.
You have to
But
move on.
whatever. But okay.
And then I had one podcast before we get into our trivia.
Yes.
I really like Invisibilia. It's an NPR podcast, and it talks about like just psychology and like different things that affect things we can't see that like affect us, like emotions, or just the one I just watched is about like personalities. And it starts with like there's this prison, and they have the prisoners like doing like TED Talks. And like, yeah, and like writing poems and like music and stuff. And so like this lady goes, and it was just like so confusing for her because these are like, these people have done like horrible things. And then they're making like this beautiful art. And it was just hard for her to like reconcile the two. And it just kind of talks about if our personalities are like set in stone, like how much your
Yeah.
personality can change, like how much does that actually mean?
Yeah.
And then it's the same podcast that has that one I was telling you guys about with like the blind guy who like bullies other blind kids into like climbing trees.
Yeah.
Like, the premise.
He said he thinks he can like actually successfully employ echolocation.
Yes, he uses.
And we watched a video and it really is him going like,
He's so scary. But like the concept is like the preconceptions or like the limitations we put on people and like you live up to them.
Yeah.
So this blind guy is like, no, like my parents didn't baby me.
Yeah.
And so like I can see and I live like a normal life. And so he's a kid.
but
And
in between he goes,
and he's like echolocating. And then so he's in school and this other kid is blind that's in his class. And he's like a normal blind person. So
With, like,
he
the
uses-
cane and everything.
He uses the cane and he has the glasses and like he needs help with stuff. And he mercilessly bullies this kid and is like,
Yeah.
you're a little baby and a little wimp and like you need to get over it. And so his mission is
which is
just
funny because they're probably like, you need a role model.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need someone to look up to, someone that's been through it.
and he's so mean.
He said, baby.
Baby. His mission is to like go through the world and get as many blind kids as he can. And then they just have like clips of him like telling him to like climb trees. And they're like, no, I can't do that. And he's like, you can and you will. Or like he tells him to like walk towards like the highway. And he's like, they are fine. And like they'll figure it out if you just let them. And so,
That's so
he
interesting.
hasn't gotten very
There's
far.
a very interesting Venn diagram between my mom's parenting and this guy's echolocation belief. And
So
there's
funny.
just a small overlap right in the middle.
A tiny sliver.
There's a little sliver of they'll figure it out.
It's really funny. But he does. Like he rides a bike. He has like a normal life.
That's yeah.
It's really funny. I think it's called like How to Become Batman. It's a really good episode. You should listen to it.
Perfect. Is that all our books and movies?
Yeah, I can wrap it up there.
Cool. Now we're going to be transitioning into the trivia part of this podcast because, you know, that seems to be a popular trend or a popular section that we do.
Yeah. We also love trivia, and I really like to show them up.
Yes.
Yeah. I like to beat Taylor, and it never happens. So we're gonna
Nice
keep doing
try.
it until it does.
I can't wait to see. Well, we'll see. Depends what Riley came up with.
Yeah. So I have 3 categories. I have pop culture, history, and science.
I'm gonna smoke you at pop culture.
She's going to smoke you at history, and I think science might be somewhere in the middle.
Taylor's gonna beat me at science.
I actually
but
don't know. I'm not that great at it.
We'll
Let's
see.
go. Let's go.
Okay, we're going to start with science. What layer of the earth lies directly beneath the crust?
Oh God. What do you mean? What layer of the earth? Taylor.
Well, the end layer's the core. So what's
Yeah.
in between?
I know the middle part, and I know the crust. I'm gonna go with. First, erase my little illustration here.
It's like someone dying.
We had to make like volcanoes in school, and we talked about the different layers of the earth, and I can't remember any. I don't know. Taylor, you go first.
I just wrote down intermediary
Yeah, I'm not sharing
because
mine.
I don't know.
I'm not sharing mine.
You
with
have
the
to
class.
share it. What did you
I put
say?
sedimentary. Isn't that part? Isn't that one?
And that's part of like dirt. Like you're not wrong, but you
Okay.
are wrong.
Okay.
What you're like that's above the crust. That's like dirt that we can see.
Okay.
The answer is the mantle.
Yeah,
I
I was
should have
never gonna
known
get
that,
that. Like
actually.
I've heard that term. I was
Yeah.
never gonna get that.
I've seen the movie The Core. I should
Yeah.
have known that. This is also wildly misspelled, so don't feel like you need
so
to
is
show that.
mine.
Okay. Let's hit history for a second.
I put rock.
Stone.
I think Donald Trump might switch this answer, but I took these previous. And before he goes into office, who was the only U.S. president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms? So he was elected,
Ooh.
someone else, and then he was elected again.
But not Donald Trump.
It's not Donald Trump, no.
Okay.
I feel like I saw this recently because they were talking about how Trump would make history if he was reelected. Because
Yeah.
usually if they have 2 terms, they're consecutively.
Right.
I didn't
don't
realize
remember
this
the
was so
name.
rare.
It's very, very rare. I'm going to go with...
I'm going to say this and you're going to think I'm thinking of a president and I'm not thinking of that president, okay?
I'm going to go with Johnson.
I put George something. Not Washington.
Johnson.
I know that. Just feel like George was in the thing I read.
It's Grover Cleveland.
Oh, so no.
So not even close. Cool.
That's
You're all lucky I came up with a president.
that's fair. That's fair.
So far,
Even do that.
so far, Lauren, we're really just like not doing well.
Bombing it.
No. Neither of us are winning.
All right, now we're gonna hit pop culture. Who was the first artist to reach 1 billion streams on Spotify?
The first.
My answer is Taylor Swift.
Was it Drake?
It was Drake.
It was great.
But hey, those were good answers. At least we're cooking with gas now. So Lauren has 1 point.
And Taylor has none. Okay.
Okay, what is the process called by which plants convert sunlight into food?
I can't spell this. I learned this from the Lorax. Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
Period. Good job.
Yes.
It's called photosynthesis. That sounds made up. It's a great movie. Should have put that on
It
the
is
list.
unfortunately a fantastic movie.
It is really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Who is the first female prime minister of the United Kingdom?
Oh, it's that witch nobody liked.
I have no idea.
I know who it is too, and I cannot think of her name. That witch no one liked.
I put Barbara Watkins.
Show your camera.
I put that witch no one liked.
Barbara Watkins. Who is that?
I made it up. I was hoping one of the names would be right.
Yeah, it's not. It's Margaret Thatcher. But I
Yeah.
see where
Oh,
you're
I've
going
heard
with it.
that
Thatcher.
name. I've heard that name.
I knew
Yeah.
it.
And again, guys, I got these off the internet and I don't know any of these. Who was the first black woman to win an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series?
Does it help if I know what the movie was?
It's a TV series.
In a series? Well, yeah, but then you're going to know who it is.
Oh, you said Emmy. I was thinking Oscar. Sorry. Can you read it again?
Who was the first black woman to win an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series?
I was thinking the lady from Gone with the Wind won an Oscar for supporting actress.
What's the difference between an Oscar and an Emmy?
Emmys are TV.
Oh.
And Oscars are movies.
And then Golden Globes are both.
The first black woman to win in a leading role. This can't be true.
Not badly.
This isn't true, but I do think she won an Emmy for this role, so this is what I'm going with.
Okay.
I'm going with that lady from How to Get Away with Murder.
I feel like this can't possibly be true because it was so recently, but there was a lot of hype when she won, so I put Zendaya.
Actually, Taylor's correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is it from the series How to Get Away
It's
with
Viola
Murder?
Davis for How to Get Away with Murder.
Let's go, Taylor.
That's
that
actually
was
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
I'm gonna give it to you, but you should get only half a point because you didn't get her name. But you did know which one.
I'm going to
was.
give it to her because she
She did get the series.
You can give me the half point. I do think that's fair because I got the series and I know that lady, but I couldn't think of her name.
yeah.
She
that was way too recent.
That is way.
crazy.
That's why I was like, it can't be true because I'm
Yeah.
like, that is way
Yeah.
too recent and modern era to be the one. But I knew she did get an Emmy for it, and she is really good.
She is really
as
good.
an actress, I've never seen her flop.
Didn't she also? Wasn't she like recently in Hunger Games?
Yeah.
She plays the lead
Yeah, she was
villain.
good. I watched How to Get Away with Murder for like a few episodes, and it was really good, but it was too intense, and I had to stop.
I agree. I could not get through the first season.
Yeah.
It was super intense, but she's good in the role.
Yeah, she is. Okay, what was the name of the ship on which the Pilgrims traveled to North America in 1620?
I have to beat Lauren.
I beat you.
Mayflower.
The Mayflower.
Yay! You both get a.
We're tied.
All right, what was the name of the supercontinent that existed about 300 million years ago?
I know this one, I know this one, I know
I
this one, I
don't
know
know
this
it. Hey, I got it really
Pangea.
close. I said Pangenta, but
No.
that says Pangea.
I'll take it. That was good.
Pangea.
We gave Taylor
Wait.
the other one. So
And then I
yeah.
said
Pangea.
Dave. But we're gonna go with
Pangita Dave. Yeah, exactly.
Pangita Dave.
Which 2021 Netflix show became the streaming service's most watched series at its release?
And it came out in 2021.
Correct.
2021.
Most watched ever?
It just says most watched series at its release, so it must be, yeah.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Which 2021 Netflix show became the streaming service's most watched series at its release? So it must be ever. Mm-hmm. And you do know this. I don't think we've ever watched it, but you do know what show this is.
Okay.
Every show I'm thinking of didn't come out in 2021.
See, that's the thing. I was like, it's Stranger Things.
That's
I'm
what
like,
I thought.
Too,
But that came out in like
yeah.
2016.
And then I'm like, it's Stranger Things season 2. But like, It can't.
Taylor
That's not
said,
it.
"Guess what? Season 3."
That's exactly.
It has to be
I
Stranger
also
Things.
thought Stranger Things,
Yeah.
but it can't be.
Because it's so popular. The most watched series ever. 2021. I actually think I know what this is. Arcane.
No,
Is it
Really?
Is it Bridgerton?
no, it's Squid Games.
I put down Arcane.
Oh.
What's Arcane?
It's their animated show right now. It's like League of Legends based, but it got really popular, and I think it came out 2 years ago.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking.
Interesting. I knew Squid Games is popular. I didn't know it was that popular.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if either of you know this. The Night of the Long Knives was a purge that took place in which country in 1934?
I have to name a country.
There is context clues in the question, but yeah.
Night of the Long Knives.
I learned about this when I was making these questions.
And I need to be putting down a country.
Yes, just a country. You don't have to
1934.
tell me what it's about. You don't have to tell me anything. Just which country did it take place in?
I don't think this is right, but I know a lot of tragedy happened here, so
I have no idea. I'm just putting something down.
me not knowing if it's a K or a C until I read it, I'm like, yeah. Oh god,
I
it's
think
even
it's
worse.
definitely a K.
Yes, it was definitely a K.
That looked way worse.
Thank you. Yeah, it turns out I just can't spell. I said Ukraine.
I said Australia.
Ukraine.
Those are decent guesses. Actually, Hitler put out a hit on his own men, apparently.
Oh.
It was in
interesting.
Germany, where he felt that there were like sects of neo-Nazis, or not neo-Nazis, Nazis that were like becoming too powerful. So he put out a hit on them one night.
Interesting.
How interesting.
Yeah. Okay, we're still tied.
Yeah.
What is the most abundant gas in Earth's atmosphere?
Sounds like a trick question.
Can't wait for that to be spelled so correctly.
I have no idea. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to get bullied. I don't know. I'm just going to put down the only gas I'm thinking of. Taylor, you go first.
Carbon dioxide.
No,
Carbon dioxide.
it's nitrogen. Hey, what'd you put, Lauren?
Methane.
She puts laughing.
Laughing.
She's like, the one at the dentist.
You know. It's got to be a lot of that. Then I was going to put oxygen.
In what year did Disney acquire Marvel Entertainment?
Put the same year, 2011.
I said 2011.
2009.
Ah, we were
2011.
close.
It was close.
See, I knew it was after Iron Man. The first one came out, which was 2008.
Yes.
But I thought it was like a couple years after that. I didn't realize it was so soon.
Correct. Which 16th century queen of England was known as the 9 Days Queen?
Taylor's going to know that.
I do know this one.
I put Victoria.
Jane Grey.
Taylor is correct.
Jane Grey. Yep.
Wow.
Queen for 9 days until her cousin, Mary, had her beheaded.
So 9 days is really 9 days.
Taylor core.
What's the vibe? Keep going or no?
If you have more.
Okay, let's do 2 more.
Okay.
I have one, but we could also save it for another
Okay.
time if you want to.
Okay. What is the chemical symbol for gold?
I have no idea. We did the same thing. N-A.
N-A.
What
No,
is
it's
it?
AU.
A-U. You know, I actually did know that. Now that you say it.
No, what you saying?
No, so many
that's
things I'm like,
insane.
oh,
Well, it's hard when you have to think of it on the spot.
true.
And with no multiple choice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But oh well.
Last one. Which planet in our solar system has the most moons?
This hoe.
I'm guessing at this. I think it's right, but I actually don't know.
Neptune?
I said Jupiter.
No,
Really?
to both.
Not
Yeah.
Jupiter.
It's Saturn.
Oh.
Okay. Well, Taylor
enough.
won. Unless
did
Taylor
win.
does her question. But then, actually, now that I'm saying it, you would still win that. That would be me and Riley. So, we have 5-4.
And it was a good race.
was
It
a good
was.
race.
You guys were close.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So tonight, my trivia will feature my personal hero and
I cannot wait.
Someone
to hear
who
what this
everyone
is.
has aired me out on the platform
Zachary
about.
Quinto.
No, Sacagawea.
Ah, yes. Taylor does love Sacagawea.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so my first question about Sacagawea is how old was she when she joined Lewis and Clark's expedition?
Wait, not old enough.
Not old enough.
Not old enough. I said she was 14 years
So
old.
it's 16.
16 is correct.
Let's go. Screams
Okay.
into the abyss.
All right. Bonus question. How old was her son at the time?
She had a son when
had
she
a
went.
son before. Who'd she get with? Lewis?
She didn't get with anyone. I mean, she was
didn't?
No, she was married when she went on the expedition.
To
her
who?
husband, well, a French fur trapper.
Oh, I thought she found him later.
Nope.
What's the Indian from Pocahontas? I thought she was Kocoum.
Where's Coco?
I thought she was Kocoum.
I thought she was painting with all the colors of the wind.
Yeah,
what are you
what?
talking about?
What do you mean?
Okay.
No, she was married to a French fur trapper,
That
and
sucks.
she was pregnant when they asked her and her husband to join the expedition. She gave birth, and then at a point after that, they went on the expedition. So
That's crazy.
how old was her son?
I have mine.
Okay.
But 6 months.
I put 2 years.
2 months. 2 months old.
Riley was way closer.
That's
So
pretty good.
it could have gone either way. My other guess was going to be 7 years. But actually, that wouldn't make sense. She's 16.
I was thinking she had him at 14.
Yeah.
Which is fair. She was married, I think, at 15.
That's crazy. It is wild to me because obviously, like when you're living in your own time and you're living in your own world, and I'm like,
Oh, I can't believe I'm not married yet.
and I'm like, well, women used to get married at 15 and get sold to fur trappers and have babies at 16 while leading Lewis and Clark. You know,
Yeah.
we're not the same.
Yeah,
And I'm
that-
like, ugh, I have my own house, my own property.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then I was watching, my grandparents and I were watching a show today, and he's like, I'm not old enough to get married. I'm 26. And he was
Yeah.
being fully serious, not kidding.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm way too young to get married. 26.
I know some men like that.
They used to have like 4 kids by the time they were 18.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
If you worked in the mines, you'd be dead by 26.
Yeah.
Sacagawea.
Yeah, that's retirement.
Sacagawea's husband had 2 wives. So,
Yeah, they all did.
yeah.
Crazy.
Anyway, my final Sacagawea question is
There's another one.
yes, this is the last one. Just my little fun round. What happened to Sacagawea's 2 children after she died?
They both went to college.
And they were really successful and happy
They were really successful. They went to the University of Pine Trees.
with the mother tree.
And she had 2 kids.
She had 2 kids. She had the son who was on the expedition, and then she later had a daughter.
Did the same thing happen to them both? When you're asking like what happened
Yeah.
to them?
No, yes, the same thing happens.
They both have the same.
Well, yeah, the same thing happens to both of them. But yeah,
Death.
no.
Okay, do you have yours?
Again, I don't think this really makes sense because they're really little, but I don't know what else. They got married to an American. Like they were married off.
Good guesses. What did you say?
I said they got sent to Europe.
Good guesses from both of you. So Sacagawea dies at 24. She gets sick and dies.
Wow.
And so both the kids were under the age of 10. And her fur trapper husband, who already had a wife, dropped them off at William Clark's, who led the expedition.
You're right. I did know that.
Yeah. And he dropped both the kids off, and William Clark ended up adopting them both. You know, like what they called adopting at the time. They became his wards. And we don't really know what happened to the woman because women don't matter. The girl.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
history, they don't care.
But we know that her son, Jean-Baptiste, did grow up and he got a full education, went to university.
So he did go to
he,
college.
he,
Oh,
he went to college. He went to Europe, actually. He did travel quite a bit. He had a very full life.
Well, that's a much happier ending than I thought it was
Yeah,
going to be.
Yeah. William Clark was very fond of Sacagawea and was
but
basically
they were never like romantic.
no. William Clark was like in his 40s.
He's like the ultimate friend.
And he was not, and like she was married.
Yeah.
And like it was not a romantic relationship as far as history knows.
Yeah.
But he was very fond of her, and he basically said, like, if anything ever happens to you, like, I would make sure that your children received an education.
And her husband said, "Yeah."
Her husband
Bet.
basically said, I don't want to do that.
Do they
Which
have
is wild.
movies about their journey?
I mean, they have like
like-
documentaries, but they've never made like a
I was thinking Night at the Museum, but
a
no.
movie that I know
feel
of
like
anyway.
surely, I don't know. It just gives that they would have turned that into a movie at some point.
Plus, how do I only remember movies? Like, how do I even know this much about Lewis and Clark if it wasn't from media?
Well, it was my great hyperfixation at one point, one of my tisms.
Yes.
And we did watch several documentaries. And because like they went through the Rockies and stuff where we lived, like in the museums around us, like they did feature them.
True.
So the Lewis and Clark expedition was like very well known, I feel like.
Yeah.
I
That's
just
fair.
feel like a lot of major like historical moments like that are adapted to the
You know
screen.
what I thought was weird? Because Napoleon came out last year, I think, or the year before.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Napoleon.
No, he's not a nice guy.
Yeah, everyone hates Napoleon, but people were psyched for that movie. Even people that were like,
also thought that
we're
was
on
weird.
stolen land. They were like, I can't wait to watch Napoleon.
I was like, when did we start caring?
Yeah, when were we okay with Napoleon?
Was
Yeah.
it just because it was Joaquin Phoenix?
Which, like, at that point,
I don't like
I
him
don't-
either.
Yeah.
yeah.
Two for two.
Yeah, people were psyched for that. Who was the director? Was it because of the director?
I don't remember.
Yeah, so
it didn't
probably
matter
not.
to me because like I never saw that movie. I did not care about that movie.
And I don't care about Napoleon.
No.
I mean, I think Napoleon was an interesting historical figure. I don't need to watch a whole movie on him.
No.
I'd way rather watch a movie on Sacagawea, who I find incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
that's my
those
like
are good.
fun little bonus lightning round.
Period.
Okay.
I think that's it for this podcast. Okay. Bye.
Bye.